Losing body fat and gaining muscle isn't as hard as you're making it, especially if you know what to do outside of the gym. Yes, training till failure, going to the gym often and progressing your weights are a fantastic way to build muscle and lose fat inside of the gym. But what you're doing outside of the gym will be that foundation. And in today's video, I'm going to talk through the biggest section of that. And that's going to be your nutrition. For the rest of this video, I won't refer it to as a diet, because the diet is something that has stopped so many of my clients previously from hitting their goals, as diets always have expiration date. And this is something that allows people to feel like they have to restrict themselves, underfuel themselves, or go to a mode that just doesn't work for them for short-term results, but no long-term satisfaction and no sustainability. And that's what we fall into when we go through that stop-start cycle that so many people go through. Today, we're going to go through the 4 stages of how to improve your nutrition so you never fall victim to this again. But before we even get into any of that, the first thing you've got to understand is, where are you right now? If you don't understand what your base level is, none of these stages will apply. So we can call this stage 0. Stage 0 is understanding whether you're going to be in a calorie deficit or you're going to be in a body recomposition phase. The two separations of these are simple. A calorie deficit is essentially if you're looking in the mirror, you don't like the amount of body fat that you're seeing. This is where we're going to burn more calories than what we consume and be in a calorie deficit, looking to lose body fat. Now, if you're looking in the mirror and you're kind of happy with the way that your body looks, but you'd like to look a little bit leaner and maybe see some more visible muscle changes, then this is where we're going to be in a body recomposition. That in itself needs its own separate video. So for the rest of today, I'm going to be talking about the calorie deficit, but if you already know a little bit about body recomposition, all the stages will apply to that. Let's get into stage 1 of your journey. The first thing is understanding what your true calorie goals are. To do this, you can simply go to the website tdeecalculator.com, and that will allow you to understand how many calories that you need. But to actually understand that, you might need to know a little bit more. You need to understand what TDEE is. That is simply total daily energy expenditure. And that just means how many calories you're burning on a consistent basis every single day through the activities that you're doing, whether that's breathing, whether that's going to the gym, or whether that's just you being you. All of this will change depending on how active you are, how heavy you are, how tall you are, how old you are. And using this calculator, it will give you an estimation. That estimation will then get taken place over the next 7 to 14 days to allow us to see the changes. You also want to make sure during this process that you're weighing yourself on a consistent basis. That way we can see the trends. Not so much what we're seeing day to day, but over the 7 days and the 14 days, are we trending down? If so, then that's a calorie deficit. If we're staying around the same kind of weight as we were at day 1, we're in a calorie maintenance and the calories need a tweak. If after the day 7 or day 14, you've gained weight consistently, the calorie surplus and things will need to change because that is aligned with our goals. To make this even easier for you, the second thing you want to do is make sure you're counting your calories during this. Counting your calories will make it so much easier because it will give you so much more information to work with, and that information in itself will allow you to make the right decisions. Because if you don't continually know where you're at, then when you're jumping on the scales and you're seeing it's going up, you don't have no point of reference to know exactly why that scale is changing or why the body fat isn't leaving. To round up stage 1, you're going to make sure that you have your calorie goals set. You're going to weigh yourself 7 to 14 days every single day to see the trends. You're going to start counting your calories. Once you've done that, you're going to move on to step 2, and stage 2 is something that I think so many people overlook and rush to process, and it is one of the key foundations to making sure that this is a sustainable change. This in itself allowed me to lose 25 kilograms and allow my clients to lose so much weight. And not only just weight, but allow it to keep it off for a long period of time. This is where we're going to look at food swaps. All we're going to do in this is going to take some of the foods that you love and adore and just change them for a slightly healthier version. I'm not talking about getting rid of the foods that you eat and love and enjoy. I'm talking about just making simple swaps. I've done countless videos on my social media through all of these, whether that's the oils that you use, chocolate bars that you eat, pizzas that you have, or burgers and takeaways. You can find lower calorie alternatives that you can substitute to make your journey way more enjoyable, but more importantly, be able to stay to it. Because one of the biggest things I see so many people fall off is that restriction. When restriction builds over a period of time, it leads to frustration. And that frustration probably leads to 2 things, either binge eating or completely stopping the plan altogether. The way that you're going to see results is to be able to do something that you can do for a long period of time to allow them results to build and snowball over time. If you try to restrict yourself for results quickly, yes, they may come, but you will never be able to sustain them longer than 2, 3, 4 weeks after you go back to what you were doing beforehand. Stage 3. This is something that everybody rushes to, but it's not always necessary, because if we don't have these foundations, as I said beforehand, sometimes just doing this and you think you're doing the right things and not seeing results. A high protein diet is absolutely amazing for anybody in a calorie deficit. Not only does it help you feel fuller for longer, helps build muscle, and allows you to reduce your craving, something when you get to this stage, which will most likely happen, is you've probably started to lose weight already. The body fat starts to disappear, and you might find that your calories might need to come a little bit down as you might have hit a plateau. Having more protein within your diet will allow you to be able to pull them calories down ever so slightly without you feeling fatigued, underwhelmed, or most importantly, irritable. So doing this consistently makes a huge difference. Also, when it comes to your protein, I'm a firm believer that if you can get majority of your protein from whole foods, so that's foods that you can name, chicken, salmon, eggs, tuna, things like that, I would massively push you in that direction. However, if you can't, and sometimes you may need to have a protein shake, or you may need to have a Greek yogurt or a protein pudding, that is completely fine. At the end of the day, it's all about having the protein. Again, if you don't hit your calorie goal or your protein goal every single day, that's fine. See if you can hit it over the week. And if you can't hit it over the week, let's see what tweaks or changes that you can do on a week-to-week basis to improve that. Whether that's bigger portion sizes, whether that's being more strategical with your planning, or whether that's just small tweaks here and there. Again, through tracking your calories, through recording your food, and through seeing your weekly trends, you should be able to have the tools to make the changes. And that leads us to stage 4. It's something that not many coaches will actually tell you and go through, because it's something that they're scared to admit. But it's actually understanding the carbs that you're eating. Far too often, a lot of my clients come to me first with really high protein diets, but the only thing that I can tend to see is that the carbs are starting to make them feel bloated, have more inflammation. A lot of their food comes from carbohydrates, which I understand as it is the body's primary source. However, having a little bit more control on your carbs can allow you to get rid of bloating. It can also allow you to become more focused. It can also reduce cravings, and it can also make you feel way more energized. The thing that I want you to look at is the amount of carbs that you're having. A lot of the times we have quite a lot of potatoes, we have quite a lot of rices, we have quite a lot of pastas when we're thinking healthy. And there's nothing wrong with them. But the amount of them could be something that we are underlooking. Whether that's having 2 cups of rice when we should only be having 1 cup of rice. Whether that's having 2 cups of pasta when we only need 1 cup of pasta. Maybe that's 2 jacket potatoes rather than 1 jacket potato. Very simple tweaks and changes can allow us to reduce calories in a way that is sustainable by replacing them with other things, such as high volume foods. These are foods which you can have a lot, but are also a little amount of calories. I'm talking your salads, your fruits, for example. That change and that change or tweak of your carbs can be one of the things what can get you over a plateau. Because if you've done all the things beforehand and you're at your last little bit before trying to get the most peeled or lean look that you want to see, manipulating them carbohydrates could be the missing piece. The final thing that I will say is intermittent fasting would be the final 5th stage as a bit of a bonus. Intermittent fasting allows you to have way more control of your food as you then have a structure to eat from. When I find my clients have a structure, they gain control of their food and do not let them food control them. You can use that as a little bit of a bonus if needed, and you can introduce that at any other stage as a little bit of a tool or a weapon to get you to the next stage. But with all that being said, that's everything that you need to know to get you from where you're at now to the goals that you have with your body, especially if you're somebody who's looking to lose body fat and gain muscle. If you've got any other questions or comments or want to know more about anything that I've said today, then simply leave it in the comment box below and I'll do either a separate video or write a reply to that. You can find me on all social medias. My name is @tylerwilliams.pt, and I'll see you on the next video.